Hey guys, what's up? It's Red, and guess what today is? Today is the official first day of autumn in the Northern Hemisphere, which is super exciting. And we're not going to talk about the fact that I've basically already been acting like it's fall since the start of September. We're just going to celebrate the fact that today, autumn is officially here. So to celebrate the start of autumn, I thought I would share with you guys some books I plan to read in the upcoming season. The first book on my list is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bragg. This book has made the young adult rounds for several years now, and it's ridiculous that I haven't read it just because I love the Diviner series so much, so I really need to read more Libba Bragg. But also, I've had this book sitting on my shelf for an embarrassingly long amount of time, and I haven't picked it up. Even though it's about a girl who goes to a creepy English boarding school and weird supernaturally things happen, and everything about it screams my name, I still haven't read it, so that's gonna change. The next up on my list is quite a hefty book, and that is It by Stephen King. I am sure that if not all of you, most of you are pretty familiar with this book in some capacity, even if you haven't read or watched the film adaptations. There was the adaptation with Tim Curry, and then just last year they had a more recent adaptation of the first half of the book. I love the adaptations, and I've wanted to read this book for years. I am quite a Stephen King fan, but this is just one of the ones I never quite got around to. I have started this book. I have not finished this book. Not a surprise if you've seen the size of it, but what I've read, I've absolutely loved, even though it's already creepy and sad. And I'm really hoping to be able to read another chunk of this book this season, even if I don't get all of it finished. The next one I have on my list was actually a recommendation by Dylan from Dylan the Reader, which is Bad Mommy by Tarryn Fisher. Now, I've never read any of Tarryn Fisher's other works, but I have heard that she tends to have a very dark and creepy vibe, which is right up my alley. From what I understand about this book, it is about a woman who buys and moves into a house next door to the perfect family, the perfect husband, the perfect kids, and she covets both of those, but they belong to another woman. This gives me some serious Hand That Rocks the Cradle vibes. If you've ever seen that movie, it's basically about this woman who covets this other woman's life and just sort of intervenes and sort of puts herself in the situation and attempts to steal this woman's family. That's what that movie's about, and it's always kind of been one of those movies I've enjoyed watching since I was a kid. So I'm kind of excited to read a book that has similar vibes going on. The last book on my autumn TBR is a bit of a throwback with Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Hopefully I say her name right. I always feel like I mess it up. Which is basically about a woman who is swept up in marriage to this charming Maxime de Winter, and she goes to his estate only to find herself thrust in the shadow of his late wife, Rebecca. And of course there's a leering evil that surrounds the estate. So I don't know if this is an actual ghost story or if it's just a weird psychological dark thing. Either way, this has been something that I've wanted to read for a long time. I believe they also have a classic film about this movie as well. I remember my mom loving that movie, and it was just one that I never got an opportunity to see, which I'm sad about, but kind of glad about, because now I can go into this book not really knowing all that much about it, and I'm hoping I'm going to really enjoy it. I've heard amazing things. So this concludes my autumn TBR. Of course, those are not the only books I plan to read this season. I do have a separate TBR that will be going up very soon, which will show you what I plan to read during the month of October, which are very much Halloween-inspired picks. So that is it for this video. I'm so excited to dive into these books and hopefully have some very positive things to say for an upcoming wrap-up. That's the hope, but isn't it always? All right, I guess that's it, and I'll talk to you guys later.